Hi, I'm Raylene, and welcome to Khaleesi Clues. In this video, I will be discussing who I believe may be the actual father to Ser Duncan the Tall. So here is your spoiler alert. I pull clues from everywhere, and if you haven't already watched episode 5 for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, or if you don't want to hear about possible theories that may or may not come true in the future storylines, then you may not want to watch this video. So let's get started. One thing that I've always wondered about Ser Duncan the Tall is if he could be a Targaryen bastard. This is mostly due to the dragonfly clues in the books and the description of his hair and the fact that I believe he has prophetic dragon dreams. Over the years, I've always kept a lookout for clues that may pertain to his parentage. There have been a few that have caught my eye, but none that made me feel comfortable enough to convince me one way or another. Until now. I think the last episode just convinced me that Ser Duncan the Tall's biological father may actually be Daemon the First Blackfyre. There are actually a combination of clues, some that are from the books and some that are from the new series, that I feel all tie into this conclusion. So let's get started. Clue number 1. This clue might be the weakest one, but I'm still going to put it in here. It is from a few lines in the Hedge Knight novella that always stood out to me. It was acted out in the first episode, but not identical as it was written. It is from when Dunk is trying to get approval to enter the lists, and he is standing in front of Prince Baelor and Maekar. It reads, "I remember Sir Arlen of Pennytree," the man in the high seat said quietly. "He never won a tourney that I know, but he never shamed himself either. At King's Landing, 16 years ago, he overthrew Lord Stokeworth and the bastard of Harrenhal in the melee, and many years before at Lannisport, he unhorsed the Grey Lion himself. The lion was not so grey then, to be sure." "He told me about that many a time," said Dunk. The tall man studied him. "Then you will remember the Grey Lion's true name, I have no doubt." For a moment, there was nothing in Dunk's head at all. 1,000 times the old man had told that tale. 1,000 times. The lion. The lion. His name. His name. His name. It was near despair when it suddenly came out. "Sir Daemon Lannister," he shouted. "The Grey Lion. He's Lord of Casterly Rock now." "So he is," said the tall man pleasantly. "And he enters the lists on the morrow." Okay, now let me explain why I think this is a clue. It is the stress of Duncan trying to remember a particular name. 3 times it is written his name, his name, his name, and then remembers Daemon. And yes, I know it's the wrong Daemon because he's talking about Daemon Lannister and not Daemon Blackfyre. But I'm not quite sure if George R.R. Martin had completely come up with a Blackfyre story at the time when he was writing the Hedge Knight novella. And besides, I don't think he would make the clue super obvious by having the full name be mentioned so quickly into the first novella. The fact that the name Daemon is important for Dunk to remember and is a story that has been told to him 1,000 times seems stressed enough to me that it has always felt like a possible clue. Clue number 2. This one comes from a scene in episode 3 titled The Squire. Duncan asks Egg, "Did you ever know your father?" Egg answers, "No, not really." Dunk continues and states, "Most like I saw mine hanged. There was a pot shop in Flea Bottom. I used to sell them rats and cats and pigeons for brown. The cook there always said my father was some thief. If he was as big as me, he wouldn't have made a very good one." So the cook sees Duncan and always tells him that his father was a thief. Now, Daemon Blackfyre was no common thief like Duncan is thinking, but he definitely was regarded as a thief and usurper by those who were opposed to his cause. They considered him a thief because he tried to take the Iron Throne from his half-brother Daeron II. Loyalists to King Daeron II also considered Daemon accepting the Blackfire sword that was bestowed to him by King Aegon IV and creating his own house, which is House Blackfire, as an act of stealing the mantle of the dragon from the rightful Targaryen line. So maybe that cook there at the pot shop recognized some similar features in Duncan's appearance and was acknowledging his true father, the thief of the sword, Daemon the First Blackfire. Clue number 3. This is a quick quote from the Mystery Knight novella. As I had mentioned before in my previous videos, I have wondered if Duncan could possibly be a secret Targaryen bastard due to the fact that I believe he has the prophetic dragon dreams. This Bloodraven quote is referring to Daemon the Second Blackfire, but I think it also applies to Duncan and supports my theory. Bloodraven explains to Duncan, "There have always been Targaryens who dreamed of things to come, since long before the conquest." Bloodraven said, "So we should not be surprised if, from time to time, a Blackfire displays the gift as well." Clue number 4. This is a John the Fiddler quote from when he is speaking to Duncan in the Mystery Knight novella. It reads, "I dreamed of you, Ser Duncan. Before I even met you, when I saw you on the road, I knew your face at once. It was as if we were old friends." John the Fiddler's prophetic dreams of Duncan allows him to recognize Dunk when they happen to meet on the road. But the line about him knowing his face and how it makes him feel as if they were old friends makes me also think that he is subconsciously recognizing the familiar family features that they share through their father, Daemon the First Blackfire. It's actually quite funny because John the Fiddler is totally crushing on Duncan, who most likely is his half-brother, which then ties in with the incestual relationship trait for the Targaryen family. Clue number 5. Is the boy his father's son? This is a recurring, significant line in George R.R. Martin's third novella, The Mystery Knight. The phrase is used to question the true parentage, bravery, or legitimacy of characters in the story, most notably Glendon Flowers and John the Fiddler. When Ser Duncan accidentally overhears this line in a conversation between two characters, they are actually questioning the capabilities of John the Fiddler. But this is also one of those lines that always stood out to me as a possible clue for Duncan, and now more than ever, I feel it most definitely does. That line is a double clue, as George R.R. Martin loves to do. It not only translates as, is the boy, meaning John the Fiddler, his father's, meaning Daemon the First Blackfire, son? And the answer is yes to that question. But it can also be symbolism for Duncan as well. Is the boy, meaning Duncan, the word his, referring to John the Fiddler, father, referring to Daemon the First Blackfire, son? And the answer, I say, is yes. Clue number 6. This is the clue from episode 5, titled In the Name of the Mother, and is also the clue that really convinced me that Duncan's father is actually Daemon the First Blackfire. The episode shows Duncan and Rafe collecting everything they can from the war-torn lands of the Red Grass Field. They take what they have been able to salvage to a pawn shop where the man gives them 2 silver stags for the miscellaneous items. Rafe grabs the coins and runs out of the door, leaving Duncan behind. Just as he turns to go, the man stops him by saying, "Hey, Daemon's rebellion is over. Take your Blackfire leather somewhere else," and forcefully hands him back the leather belt with the Blackfire family sigil embossed on it. Duncan looks a little puzzled, but takes it and walks out. Part of the clue is the word he used to describe the belt. Instead of saying, "Take your Blackfire belt," he said, "Take your Blackfire leather." Leather is another word for skin. So again, I think it is a direct reference to Dunk's skin or identity as a Blackfire bastard. It makes me wonder if that man may have recognized a little bit of resemblance of Blackfire features in Duncan. Regardless if he did, the symbolism is there. It also makes me wonder if Duncan will ever cover over the embossed designs and actually use that belt as a replacement for his rope belt as he grows into it. Now that's all of the clues I pulled together for this video. I'm sure there will be more as the series progresses, especially in season 3 when they cover the Mystery Night novella. One last thing I want to mention is how this revelation may affect the future storylines for Ser Duncan, Egg, and Bloodraven. Because, like I said, Bloodraven's future fate is shown with him trapped in the roots of the weirwood tree. Duncan the Tall becomes Cold Hands and seems to be acting as Bloodraven's minion and is locked out of the cave where Bloodraven is being held hostage while being consumed by the weirwood tree. And Egg has become the Night King and is also locked out of the cave where Bloodraven is. He does return to fight the children of the forest and eventually end Bloodraven's captivity and torture, thereby giving him mercy and destroying what is left of his skeletal remains. But keep in mind, Bloodraven is actually the one who kills Damon the First Blackfire and his twin sons there on the red grass field. And then later in the timeline, it is Bloodraven who urges Bran to go into Odor as a young boy and is the key factor that ends up damaging his mind to the point that he only repeats Odor for the rest of his life. Not to mention that Egg's father and uncle just finished with the first Blackfire rebellion, and now here Egg is currently a squire for Duncan, who very well may be a Blackfire bastard of the Black Dragon himself, Damon the First Blackfire. I mean, what a complicated trio and storyline we have going on there. Now, I know that's a combination of show and book stories, but it will definitely be interesting to see how it all plays out in the books from George. I don't know. Let me know what you all think in the comments. I still have more to discuss for episode 5, but I am still working on some of the clues. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you would like to show support, please like, share, comment, or subscribe to my channel. Tonight is the final episode for the first season for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and it will be interesting to see if they drop any big clue to hook in the future storylines coming. Thank you again, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.